Hello everyone, it's Silvia from Tarot. Welcome to my channel. So today I thought I'd share with you what I do every morning, or at least I try to do every morning, when it comes to my daily tarot practice. So the deck that I'm currently using, the Walking Meditation Tarot by Danielle Norman. This is actually an older edition, but I know that recently there has been a Kickstarter, and I think that people are starting to receive their rewards. So I'm using this deck and another couple of decks that I'm going to show you later. So and I'm going to literally do my ritual, my daily tarot ritual and practice together with you. I hope it's going to be okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because there's been a lot of talk about how to incorporate, let's say, your tarot practice within your daily chores, whether it's related to your personal practice or if you have, for example, a YouTube channel or any other platform, if you're using TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, etc. There's a lot to be said about how we use tarot. Tarot, I think that nowadays there is a lot of request from people using tarot deck for variety in tarot, because we feel that, especially after the pandemic, this is something that I definitely felt when I was interviewing people for my Tarot on Tour episodes. Around the world, there's a lot of requests from people to bring back the kind of control we have over our own spirituality, because we feel like we've been on alert for many years now, and we feel like we want to step away from that sense of constant alert, constant anxiety, that sense of always being careful about everything that happens around us, and we're being so distracted by that where we lost track of our own spirituality. And so there is this movement around the world that I feel very strongly about, and it's about taking back control over our own thoughts. And I believe that using tarot for meditation and journaling really helps you achieve that. So let's have a look at what I do. Okay, so first of all, I have a lot of journals. I think I posted a video where I was showing all of my journals, the ones that I'm currently using. And I got a lot of comments saying, I love your journaling. Thank you for that, but I am not an expert. I'm really newbie. But I do write a lot. I've always been doing that. I've always been journaling. My journals may not look pretty, but there's a lot of passion when I sit down and just pour my heart out, on the paper. And I am a bit of a paper nerd, so also because I have been working in the paper industry, or more specifically I was working for Avery Dennison. So if you're in California, you will know the company, but we had to have a lot of knowledge about paper. And in specific, it actually is something that I need, because I tend to use a fountain pen when I write, and I tend to prefer let's say wet inks. Wet inks is just a way to describe an ink that is flowing really well and that it tends not to dry out on the pen. But that also, it's got its pros and its cons, because obviously you do have some kind of reaction on the paper, and sometimes you have what we call ghosting, when the ink is actually seeping through the page and you can see from the other page when you turn it. So I have to be able to use some ink, let's say ink or fountain pen friendly paper. And in this case, I'm using the Kakria A4, 1/3 of an A4. So this was a special edition that was sold together with a Sailor fountain pen that I still have. It was a special one. It was called Crane. And it also was accompanied by a special Sailor ink. However, Sailor pens are beautiful. I do have a couple, but even the let's say the medium nib of a Sailor for me is very fine. I understand completely that they will want to use a fine nib, because obviously being Japanese, they write in kanjis, and obviously you need to be able to see the lines. but in my case I write in English, and so I really like to see the ink. And so what I'm using is this Opus 88 Fantasia, and with a broad nib with a Robert Oster Muddy Dragon ink, which is actually an homage to the Year of the Dragon. And I use the Twisby Diamond, I think it's called Teal, I don't remember what color this is. And this one is also a broad nib, and I'm using the Sailor Manu Duo Shading Fuji ink. And I'm using the Mont Blanc Around the World in 80 Days edition, special edition. And in this case, I actually made my own ink, which is a bit of a combination of Robert Oster's different kind of inks, and I really like this kind of shade, and I will show you later. So let's have a look, because I'm definitely going to do journaling the way that I do it, you know, on this, when I just started a couple of days ago. So we just literally will do, you know, just filling in the pages the way that I do every morning. And I'm not sure that I want to talk. Perhaps I will put some music in the background. I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but let's start. Okay, so obviously I don't write unveiling my daily tarot journaling for every day, but I do like to have a nice title, and for this I'm actually using the Sharpie Permanent Marker Metallic Gold. I also have a metallic silver, and somewhere I have a metallic copper as well. I really like these ones because on this type of paper they dry up pretty quickly, but they still have that sense of gold and silver and copper. I don't know if I can show you, probably catch the light doing like this. As a matter of fact, let me just switch on a light, because it's very dark outside. It's actually pouring rain, and I'm not sure that I have enough natural light to go on. Having said that, now I am literally going to do a 3 cards pull with the Walking Meditation Tarot. So I'm just gonna set this aside with the pens as well, and I'm going to use the deck. So this is an amazing deck. I don't know if you've heard, if you're familiar with this deck. It comes with 2 guidebooks. It's an indie deck. It comes with 2 guidebooks. So basically one guidebook is about, let's say, the tarot itself. So you can see, you know, the meaning of the cards. You got a bit of a description. You also have a bit of a description when it comes to the reverse meaning of the card, and also a bit of a meditation, perhaps a spiritual meaning of the cardinal. So you do have a fair bit of information. I have to say this is a rather small font, so in some cases I do kind of struggle if I'm not wearing my reading glasses, but it is functional. It's straight to the point. I really like it and I appreciate it. Then this particular deck comes with this, as you can see, much more worn out guidebook about walking meditations. Now I do a lot of walking, at least I used to before I developed acute tendonitis, and now the doctor is kind of really upset if I don't take rest. But in any case, it's something, walking is something that I always liked. And the reason is that it's the one time of the day in which I feel like I can be by myself. And I can be with my thoughts, and I can listen to them. I can listen to what my mind and my heart are trying to tell me during the day, when I really don't have any other time because of the noise, of the background noise, you know, that you've got related to work and the house, and obviously, and you know, the people that are close to me. And you know, and it feels almost as if you're kind of neglecting yourself, but then you do, in my case, I go for a walk, and that is the moment that I can really dedicate to how I am, how do I feel today, etc. Sometimes I listen to music when I walk, sometimes I do this kind of meditation based on these cards. Sometimes I listen to a podcast or an audiobook, or sometimes I just listen to the noises around, whether if I'm walking in a for example in a park, then I like to hear the birds singing, for example, but it depends on where I am. So this is an excellent deck for these kind of things, meditation in particular. It's a beautiful deck. It's based on photography. These are all photos that have been then manipulated with a software, and they look, I don't know whether you can actually see it, because from afar through the lens you can probably tell, you can tell that it's a photo, but you can't really tell what kind of manipulation it has been applied to the photo. Maybe on this one, if I do this. In any case, it's a photographic deck. It's a really beautiful one. This is also the creator, I think, of the Astro Mermaids Tarot, if I'm not wrong. I did not back that one. I wish I did, actually. Anyway, it's a really beautiful deck based on nature, and then obviously you have these symbols added to the cards for you to obviously be able to relate to the cards, the symbols of the RWS. And I love that there's a lot of snow in this deck. The author is based in Canada, so obviously there'll be a lot of snow, which is something that I cannot say for Australia, but it's something that I really miss about living in the northern countries of Europe. And so yeah, I just use this deck. Now I do a very specific 3 cards pull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle the deck. Okay, so generally speaking, I don't talk, but because I need to. So shuffling the cards is a ritual, and I do that for as long as I feel that I need to. However, for demonstration purposes today, it was a quick one, but I can assure you sometimes I actually shuffle for minutes, because it just helps me set the mood. It's something that it's related to reading itself. And then, you know, I really like it when with the deck you can fan out like that, when the cards really slide one across the other. And I pull 3 cards, so then sometimes I always pay attention to the card that is at the bottom of the deck. I don't necessarily read it every day, however I do think that there might be an additional layer that I can give thanks to this card to the reading of the 3 cards that I've actually pulled. As I said, I don't always do that. I just decide, once I read these 3 cards, I decide whether I want to apply the additional layer by reading this card as well or not. So for now, we're just gonna leave it here on the side. And these are the 3 cards that I am going to pull for today. And then we're just going to have a look at these 3 cards. So we have 3 cards because I have 3, let's say, positions. And this one is something positive for today. I always like to start with something positive, and I want to keep it in that tone because I believe that intentions weigh a lot. They have a lot of importance in your day. And if you start in a positive way, you can take care of whatever comes your way during the day. So this is something positive. And okay, so we got the Page of Pentacles. Now, generally speaking, when I do a reading for clients or even for myself, and it's a divination kind of reading, I flip all of the cards at the same time because I want to have a total vision of all of the cards that I've got. But when it comes to this kind of practice, I actually do the reading card by card because they're not related. They're not related one to the other. I don't necessarily read directionality. It's just, it's almost as if I was pulling one card and then I was shuffling again and pulling another one, etc. So the Page of Pentacles, as in something positive for today, is definitely related to that going back to nature and that energy that all of the pages have, and also that sense of ingenuity and starting something new. There's a leap of faith that really gives us the excitement excitement or doing something new, but it also kind of puts us in a position of vulnerability. That is something that we need to recognize in ourselves every now and then. The Page of Pentacles is related to, the Suit of Pentacles is related to the Suit of the Earth, so obviously the Page of the Earth is always reconnecting to nature, as I was saying before, but it's also the archetype of the student, of the learner. Now, with my Starlight and Sunlight members, we've actually done a study on how to interpret and recognize the archetypes in the code cards. And so I was explaining that, you know, the alchemical meaning of the Pentacles, the Suit of Pentacles, but also when you combine that with the evolution throughout the court cards. So the Page of Pentacles is the student because he's the person that is initiated into the arts of alchemy. Outside of that context is the student in general, is someone that has to learn, because they are tasked with the quite onerous duty of learning nature, learning its secrets. And then, you know, in the evolution of the pages, obviously you get to the stage of the Queen of Pentacles, which has mastered the knowledge of nature, and they turn into the healer, the alchemist. So this is the apprentice and the Queen is the alchemist. So what I do, I just, you know, go back to my journal. So normally I just start drawing, and we've got 1, 2, and 3 cards. So I just put the cards like this. So this is card number 1, card number 2, and card number 3. And I just, you know, in here I just repeat what they mean. So card number 1 is something positive for today. Then obviously here I will put the meaning of card number 2, and then I'll put the meaning of card number 3. I already know that, but for explanation purposes I'm just doing it one by one. And then I start, you know, meditating on the cards. So card number 1, which is something positive for today, is the Page of Pentacles. And so I do my meditation on it. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave this here drying up. Then once I'm done with my meditation of the first card, so something positive for today, we're just going to have a look at the second one. And in this case, I never want to say something negative, but I do need to realize that there is the yin and the yang in every day. So instead of something positive or instead of something negative, I'm going to say something to be mindful about, something I need to be aware of today, something I need to take care of. And we've got the Six of Cups. Now the Six of Cups in this particular position is to be read as, yes, there is the moment in which perhaps looking backwards and taking refuge in a moment of the past where things were a lot easier, a lot less complicated than what they are right now, when, you know, you have responsibilities towards yourself, towards your family, towards everyone that depends on you and the people you love. Of course, that takes its toll, because, you know, the more they are, the more responsibilities and the more worries you have. And also, you know, it extends to everyone that is part of my life. And so sometimes it does kind of, you know, become a little bit overwhelming. And when it becomes overwhelming, I have the tendency, and we all do, to just take refuge in a moment of the past where, you know, everything was going well, everything was fine, and I had no worries. And obviously this is something to be mindful about, in the sense that if I have that temptation, you know, if I'm tempted today, you know, to take refuge in that moment, I need to remind myself that it needs to stay a moment. It cannot become something, you know, longer than what it needs to be, because otherwise the risk is to get stuck in there, or the risk is not necessarily to get stuck, but the risk is to become bitter towards what you're actually living through in the moment, in the present. So if we always compare the present to the past, thinking that, you know, the past was better, will never be happy in the present. So that's something extremely important. Of course, go back to the Six of Cups, that moment of nostalgia, if you need to recharge your batteries, but never forget to then get back into the present moment. So that's something to be mindful of. So I'm taking back my journal and I'm continuing. So this is, obviously we've seen card number 2, which is the Six of Cups. And again, we just let this dry. As you can see, I had some flow problem with the twist, so I'm using the Sailor Mania Dual Shading Fuji ink, which is, generally speaking, a wet ink on a broad nib. Is also, you know, the line is very thick, but it is almost running out. So obviously, towards the end, it does tend to dry up a little bit. You just have to, if you're not familiar with these pens, they have this very unique kind of system in which the converter is basically incorporated in the pen, and you use the back of the pen in order to move the piston up and down. It works wonders. In other pens, to be honest with you, I don't know how well it will work, but this one, the feeding system is perfect. It never gets clogged. Even I used to use this pen with the Emerald of Chibor. So by J. Herban, the same collection. This is the 1670 collection, special edition, but this is the black one. I don't remember what the name of this one is. I think it's called Karub de Chiffre. So it's got a lot of these gold particles that make the ink very, very viscous, very dense. And what happens is that if you use it in a normal fountain pen, you will definitely clog the feeders. So they actually don't even recommend using it in fountain pens. However, I found that when I use it with the Bybee broad nib, I never had any problems. It's also because the Bybee is rather easy to clean, so I always manage to clean the feeder. But I would say be very careful. Generally speaking, these inks from J. Herban are best used with a glass nib rather than a fountain pen, a glass nib or a deep pen in any case. But I actually use it, as I said, I use it to paint, so as if it were watercolor. It's actually really, really nice, and the results are rather pleasing to the eye. So as we were saying, we just go to the third card, and so this is more like a message for today. So this was something positive, this is something I need to be mindful of, and this is a message for today. And every day I just pull 3 cards, and these are always invariably, you know, the meaning of the cards. So the Two of Pentacles is obviously referring back to that kind of juggling between 2 things. However, it's not the being stuck of the Two of Swords, for example. There is, when it comes to the numerological reading of the number 2, of course you have the duality. You grow out of the uniqueness of number 1, which is representing the beginning, where you are on your own and you're pretty much ready to embark upon a different adventure. You're ready to grow, because that's what you're supposed to do in the evolution of the suit. So on the 2, you have to come to terms with the fact that you're not alone anymore. You are in a couple, you are in a relationship, you are in a partnership. It depends on what kind of partnership or relationship, of course. It can refer to a romantic one, but it can also be referring back to a relationship at work with one of your colleagues, etc. As a matter of fact, because we're looking at the Suit of Pentacles, it may be related to a project that you're doing together with someone. So it may be a partner in that sense. But there is a little bit of a juggling here, because it's not clear what your roles are in this team, in this couple, in this partnership. So obviously you're kind of juggling. You haven't found yours. Your specific contribution in this team yet, and we will see that in the Three of Pentacles, but this is the card before the Three of Pentacles, so we have not reached that stage yet. So that's the meaning of the Two of Pentacles. And when it comes to reading it as the message for today, perhaps this is an invitation to try and find this kind of balance and accept that sometimes I don't necessarily know what I'm supposed to do, and be okay with that, being accepting that. So I'm going to journal again with that. So we said a message for today. Okay, so what I've done, this is related to my meditation practice and the fact that I pull these three cards. So if I have time, I also like to do some decoration. And the reason why I like to do that is because I believe that not necessarily that I need to look at something pretty, but because it's part of the ritual. Decorating is a art of meditating as well, because you don't necessarily have to use too much attention to it. You just look at what could look nice and you just apply that. So what I use, generally speaking, I really love washi tape, and there's so many now in circulation. It's almost too many, in the sense that it's very difficult to choose them. If you want, I will link these ones in particular in the description box below if you like them. I do appreciate these ones because there's a map. It's a rather large washi tape, this one. As you can see, this is just one roll. It's rather large, as I said, and it's got a very antique map of the equator, so the countries around the equator, and it's very beautiful. I really love geography, and so I like that it's this thick, because I can actually break it in two sometimes. You know, I can cut it in two, and depending on the country, for example, this is the Mar del Sur, so the southern seas, etc. So this is a very versatile kind of washi tape that I like to use. And then there's others that I really enjoy. This one is another rather large one, as you can see, and it's got a lot of landmark, which is, you know, something that I adore because I love traveling. So this is something that I also like to use a lot, or sometimes I really cut around these ones to just put them as if they were stickers. But I have, you know, different size ones, and depending on what I'm doing, I use all of them. At least I try to use all of them. And then at the end of the day, I noticed that there's different ones that I tend to use more, but I guess everyone does the same. And then I use these actual stickers. These are washi stickers, so there's a tons of these that you can find pretty much everywhere. The problem with a lot of stickers that are very, very affordable is that they are very difficult to remove from the backing paper. And these ones are not. These ones are slightly more expensive, but they're very easy to remove, very easy to use, and I really like them. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so now I've done this. What I generally do if I have time, if I don't have time, I stop here. Because, you know, I have to work and I have to do other filming or other things. But if I do have time, then I generally like to do something more. So I use another couple of decks. Let's have a look. So I like lining or framing rather the pages with washi tape. I don't always use the larger one, the wider ones. As a matter of fact, I prefer to use the thinner ones. However, because I want to do something in black and white, I think that a black and white washi tape would probably look nicer. Okay, so now I'm going to pull a card from the Oracle of the Witch. So this deck is really beautiful, and it's been illustrated by Mira Nordianti, and I actually met up with Mira because she was at the Oddities and Curiosity Expo in Sydney back in December last year, and she was selling a lot of stickers and a zine as well, which I bought, and that was very, very interesting. I've had her Oracle for a while. So this is by Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara Michael John Free, but as I said, it has been illustrated by Mira. And I bought a lot of stickers because I really like them, and I like to use them in my journals. But these are, just for you to know, these are actually waterproof, and they're PVC, so you can definitely stick them, for example, on your laptop or on your car or anywhere, so they will not be ruined by weather. They are rather thick as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to apply this sticker, and then we're going to pull a card from the Oracle of the Witch, and I'm going to do some meditation on that as well. Okay, so I will let this dry, and now we're just gonna have a look at this Oracle deck, which is really beautiful. And you've seen the sticker, so the art style would be very interesting, very similar, be able to recognize it. So it's a black and white with a lot of red and it's got only these three colors. Obviously the black and white has got a lot of shades of gray because it's made this way, which is very interesting. But I find that this deck is really beautiful. It's very witchy, as you can imagine, Oracle of the Witch, obviously. But it's very, very good when it comes to, let's say, meditation. It does have a bit of a darker side to it, so sometimes the meditation you do, because it's inspired by the images, is rather dark. So I will not recommend it as a hug deck because that's not what it is, and it's not even meant to be. However, it does have that sense of magic, you know, that sense of witchy magic that a few decks in my collection actually have. I don't have that many that have this kind of a vibe to them, and that's probably one of the reasons why I appreciate it so much, because it does have a very specific place in my collection or in my practice. And I like to do a bit of, you know, journaling about the card that I pull. Now this is a Ruppel production, and it's one of the older decks, so it's got this kind of gloss edging to the cards. Generally speaking, this would be very easy to chip, especially because red, somehow it looks like red is easier to chip, and truth be told, it is slightly chipped already on the corners, but it's holding up quite well. And these are the backs, by the way. So I'm just gonna pull a card. Okay, so now that I've shuffled enough, let's just fan out the deck and pick a card. Moot with Gathering. So I really like this image. What I generally do in this case, I just go back to the journal. So I put the card here. Let me see if it fits in the frame. Yes, it does. I go back to the journal, which is by now hopefully dry. I think it is. As you can see, I think it's the Caroube de Chiffre has this gold sparkling, you know, shimmering thing, and you can probably see from where the ink has been pooling, but it's not very, so it's a bit subtle. It's a bit of a sparkle, but it's a bit subtle. It's not, but it will still clog your feeder, so please don't use it with a fountain pen, but only with a glass tip pen or dip pen. Now I'm using the Opus 88 Fantasia, which is inked with the Orbitosta Muddy Dragon. I really like this pen, by the way. I could post it, but generally speaking, I have small hands, and to be honest with you, I prefer not to. This is slightly smaller than your standard size of a fountain pen. I don't mind it. Some people, they want to post it because it becomes longer, but I really feel comfortable with the weight that it is and the balance without posting it, so it's not going to be posted. So now what I would do, I would just, I would take the card. So this is from the Oracle of the Witch. So let's have a look at what the guidebook says. So it's number 33. It's pretty easy to find. Let's see, 23, 32, 33. Gathering. Gather together with your witchy family to make magic and mayhem. It's gonna be fun. So generally speaking, I write down the message that is writing, below the keyword. And then I do my journaling. I read from here, and I just do my journaling and my meditation and reflection. Okay, so when I'm done with my meditation, basically at this point I don't have a lot of time left. I really have to, get productive and do things. But I really believe that when we do this and we take this time for ourselves, we really achieve something important. We really achieve something that is going to help us face the day. And this one is the most important part of my tarot journaling every day. I really do try and stick to this kind of routine. I really do pull 3 cards every morning. If it's not immediately when I wake up, then perhaps before lunch or after lunch or before dinner, but I do try and do this every day. And I also try and do the journaling every day. This is an additional part that I like to do, especially when I use the tarot deck, because I also like the aesthetics of it. I like to, also marvel at the mastering of the skills of a medium that I will never be able to understand, because I am not an artist at all. I mean, I do have a sense for photography, which I really enjoy and I really like, but I will never be able to do any kind of drawings of sorts. So I'm always in awe whenever I see an artist performing, and I like to be able to see pretty things on my journals, even though I'm not able to do them. So I like to buy stickers, for example, and as I said, the washi tape, etc. Now, last but not least, I always do something in the evening. So if I have time, it is not something that I do every evening, but I try, because it's also important to be able to go to bed and, be in an atmosphere in which you can actually feel like you're relaxed and you can go to bed, in a peaceful manner. So before I go to bed these days, I actually like to have a look at pull a card from the Magical Spirit Oracle, The Brilliance of You by Alexis Raccoon. This is also a rug pull release. It is a beautiful deck, but it also has that kind of, let's say, calming energy. Not all of the cards perhaps, but most of the cards are really calming and, let's say, forgiving. And I really like to use this because it gives me the possibility to, just calm myself, put myself into the right set of mind to fall asleep and have a relaxing and restful sleep. It's very important because at night we really rebuild our energy, not just mentally, but also spiritually and also physiologically. So let me just, I will set the page up and then I will pull a card. Okay, so we're just gonna leave this aside for a moment and we're gonna pull a card from this deck. By the way, how cute are these clips to keep the pages from opening? I just love them. Okay, let's see what we've got. Okay. And just gonna pull a card. Sometimes you will break before you bloom. Breaking into bloom. Time, liberation, understanding. That's probably a bit of a intense card to pull before going to bed. But now it's not time for bed. It's actually early in the morning. So what I'm going to do, I'm definitely going to use this card and I'm going to journal with it. And I like to switch the pens around, so I'm going to use this one. So in this one I've actually made my own ink, using a few inks from Robert Holster. So this is the Magical Spirit Oracle, and then I'm just gonna have a look. So it's number 29, so I think it's so much easier when they put the numbers in. So the Rosebud, time, liberation, understanding, affirmation spell. My third eye is awakened and my heart is open. So you'll notice that I put these two laurel kind of leaves here as if they were, you know, a quote, bracketing a quote. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I write down this affirmation spell in here. So my third eye is awakened and my heart is open. There you go. And so then I'm just going to read what the booklet says, and I'm going to meditate on that. There is a big, you know, there's 2 full pages, and then I like that there's this manifestation enhancer. Now this is not necessarily something that I do. This is a guided meditation. I don't necessarily do this every night because, you know, sometimes I'm just tired and I just want to go to bed. But perhaps immediately after dinner, if I have time, if perhaps my husband is out for whatever reason, then I do definitely like to do some kind of a guided meditation. But for now, let's just journal on this card. Okay, so this is let's say more or less what I do when I have time in the evening. Then perhaps we'll put some more stickers to just make it look nicer. Okay, so that was it. This is basically my daily tarot journaling, sorry. And aside from that, let's say what I always try and do is the morning pull and the night pull. Only one card, you know, at night, and 3 cards in the morning. If I don't have time at night, then, you know, I just I skip it. That's not a big deal. And then, you know, if I have more time in the morning, then I definitely do some more meditation with an oracle. So I'm curious to know, you know, what you think of it, in the sense that I'm not very crafty. I think it shows. I mean, you can see some people dedicating their entire lives basically to journaling because they're really excellent at that, and they have the skills to do that. I don't have the skills to do that. This is obviously what a beginner, you know, can do. I do like to watch these channels sometimes, and I pick here and there, I pick some inspiration, but I'm nowhere near as good as I would like to be as well. But I'm curious to know, how do you journal? So does this resonate at all for you? Is it something that you find that you do as well? Do you like to write down your thoughts, or do you just pull the cards? You take a photo of it perhaps and you print it and you stick it in your diary. So I'm really curious to hear what you do in your daily practice with tarot, because it's something that we're all here for, aren't we? So thanks so much for staying with me till the end of this video. More to come. Have a great day.